Welcome to Selah. This is your place where women dream again, where we get a chance to hear new ideas and new thoughts from trendsetters. This is the place, our safe place where we can take a deep breath. Come on, let's practice right now. This is a place where we take a good deep, that means inhale and yes, let's exhale. Because when we're stressed, we tend not to breathe deeply. We tend to breathe shallow. But we'll get to that later on. But right now, I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to grab your snack and go tell your friends. There's several ways I need you to help us tonight. I need you to share this page on your Facebook page. You can do that right now. Click. Text a friend and invite them to join you. Now, some of us have already taken our selfies, but you can take your selfie and go click, take your selfie and say, I'm watching Selah. Where are you? All right. That's a way that you can help us. Share in the comment section. In fact, right now, tell us where you're coming from. I see you from Baltimore, Maryland. I see San Antonio. Hello. I see Austin. I see Round Rock. Let us know where you're from. And I think we're going to have a blessed time tonight. Hello, Baltimore. I see you, Dr. Ruth. God bless you. Thank you for being in the house. Share in the comment section. When something resonates with you, please put it in the content section so we can post it up. And then I want you to work those hearts and those thumbs. Work those hearts and those thumbs. Work those hearts and your thumb when you hear something that's a blessing to you. And you can also be a support of Selah by supporting Selah leadership by clipping the Financial Cash app. There is a lot more we want to do and that we can do, and we want to be able to offer it to you. And so please support us. It's right above my head, just right. Yeah, it's just right there. Amen. There's a lot going on, beloved, and I invite you to take a seat at this table of transformation. It can be hard out there sometimes, and to be perfectly honest, and I want you to be honest tonight. I see you, Atlanta. I want you to be honest tonight. I see you, East Orange, New Jersey. I want you to be honest tonight. Have you ever felt like quitting? Giving up. Come on, put those hands up. Walking away, pushing the delete button. What kind of strength do we need in this kind of season that we're in? What kind of wisdom? What kind of character? What kind of discernment do we need today to live well and, sis, to lead well? What stretched to the limit? What's been pulled out of shape? What needs fixing and needs fixing right now? Maybe let me rephrase that. What needs healing and needs healing right now? How do we clarify what is never supposed to change? And at the same time, prepare for it to change anyhow. There's a lot going on. I told this story at one of our Selah gatherings of how my dad used to run track at the University of Wisconsin back in the 1930s when Black men were not expected to be at the University of Wisconsin. And he ran track, and he kind of expected one of his two kids to follow him onto the track. And how many of you know that didn't really happen? But he really tried. He tried really hard. And I spent a lot of afternoons after school down in the track with my dad. And he tried me at every sport. I had a lot of fun. It was a great discipline. But I remember the day when there was an inter-squad races, and there was an empty space. There was one chalk left. And I decided I was going to get in the race. And I ran down the hill. I got in the race. My father looked at me like I had lost my mind. I got in the race. I put my fingers right on the line. Put my fingers right there on the line. I stretched my legs, kicked them out so that I could be in the starting blocks at just the right thing. I had my head down, waiting for the gun to fire. Bam! The gun fires and off we ran. Boy, I was running lickety split because I grew up in the hood. And when you grow up in the hood, you either learn how to fight or you learn how to run. And so on the first round, it was a mile, 4 times around the track. First time around, I was leading the whole thing. Second time, I was in second place. Third time, I was in the middle of the track. By the time we got around to the 4th round of the track, I came in dead last. I was tired, exhausted, and embarrassed. Now, trust me, the ride home was a quiet ride. It was a quiet ride because I absolutely knew I had embarrassed my dad. Here's the track coach, and the kid came in last. You understand what I'm saying? And so finally, my dad broke the silence and he said, Vash, you did good today. And I said, what? He said, you did good today. I said, how could I have done well when I came in last? He said, if you stood still after you crossed the finish line and looked behind you, you would have seen on the infield the bodies of the racers who quit. They didn't finish the race. You did good today because you didn't quit. Watch this video. We'll be back. Watch this. Watch this.
For somebody going through tough times, for somebody struggling just to keep your head above water, you're trying, but things don't seem to be quite working out the way you planned. You thought you'd be in a different place at this season in your life, but you're still suffering.
You have no say-so in what happens to you, but you have a say-so in what you do about it. You have a determining voice into where your life can go. See, life is 10% what happens to you. It's 90% what you do about it. You get a setback. You get thrown off course. You lost your mama. That's dirt. But show me something that has grown into something beautiful that didn't have no dirt on it. You need dirt on you to develop, because dirt ain't just dirt. Dirt is fertilizer. Dirt is nutrient. Dirt gives you the strength for your seed to push through. You gotta have dirt on you to push through something. Everything you see that's beautiful starts out as a seed, but that seed got to get dirt on it. You got to have dirt on you to grow into what life got for you.
The only thing I want from you is that every single day when uncertainty creeps in, I need you to get up and I need you to go heavy on it. In the midst of opposition, in the midst of challenges, in the midst of adversity, when you taste a little bit of blood and something happens that you didn't expect to happen, I need you to go heavy on it.
You gotta be willing to go after your stuff. You gotta be willing to go after whatever has got your name on it. Sometimes you gotta fight your way over. Sometimes you gotta fight your way through. Sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and say, listen, I ain't got nobody else to encourage us right now. It's just me and you. But I'm telling you, you're the head and not the tail. And I'm fighting for me, or my house, or my children, or my brothers, or my sisters, or my husband, or my vision, or my dream. I'm gonna stand right here, and I ain't giving up my children. I'm not giving up my money. No, I'm standing. You can't keep quitting your whole life. You can't keep backing up, and you can't keep fainting, taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. After a while, there ought to be something in our lives that we stand through. Sicknesses that you stood through, struggles that you stood through, weaknesses that you stood through, crises that you stood through, pressures that you stood through. That is where character is developed. That's what defines our destiny when you are in the middle of transition.
Well now. Welcome to the table of transformation, Dr. Claudette Copeland. Welcome. Come on, ladies. Welcome her in the comment section. Welcome to Selah. We're so glad that you're here, that you said yes to be with us. Dr. Claudette Anderson Copeland, preacher, prophet, co-founder of New Creation Christian Church, executive pastor for 34 years, pioneer clergy, featured in the Smithsonian, also now in the San Antonio Women Hall of Fame, glory to God. And she is the CEO of the Women's Educational and Healing Retreats Incorporated, healing invisible wounds, teaching people to get well. Hallelujah. Or women now. And she is the well-contented wife for 45 years to Bishop David M. Copeland. Praise the Lord for the well-contented Claudette Anderson Copeland. Welcome to Selah.
Well, Bishop Vashti, We are delighted to be with you and your audience tonight. The people of God everywhere salute you and who you are, what you've done for the kingdom, and your contributions to the lives of men and women everywhere. Thank you tonight for this platform of Selah.
You have something you're going to share with us tonight. So let's say the table is yours.
Well, thank you. Pull up a chair, my sisters, daughters, and mothers. We're talking tonight about survival, and have negotiated crisis. The crisis of your first day of school when you wondered if you'd find a friend in kindergarten. The crisis of your first broken heart when you were betrayed by the one you loved and trusted. The crisis of aging, where your body no longer does what your mind tells it to do. All of us have been through some crisis, some challenge that has said, quit, it's quitting time. But I want to suggest to you tonight 4 things that perhaps will urge you and push you and put a hand in your back to encourage you to resign from the quitting crowd and get back in the race. The first thing that comes to my mind as we dig around this notion of survival, particularly in this pandemic, is that all of us know how to use what's left. From every crisis that you've been through, from every battle that you have won or lost, for every love that you have benefited from or been bruised by, we know how to use what is left. So the first thing I want you to do is put an M on your paper and make that M for manufacture. Construct a strategy for your future based on what was left from your past. Do not leave the leftovers in the refrigerator to spoil. Manufacture a clear strategy for your survival, for your next. Listen, it doesn't take a good plan to die, but it takes a good plan to live. I want you to pull back. When we talk about manufacturing, pull back, center yourself, and begin to collect all of the leftovers that you've learned from every other crisis that you have already survived. Listen, whenever we're in crisis, and the crisis of pandemic is probably something that none of us have ever seen, 3 things normally happen. First of all, crisis begins to elicit frenzy. As we were in church, touch your friend and say frenzy. Yeah, because when crisis hits, we begin to move mindlessly in all directions at the same time. And frenzy is contagious. When we see others in frenzy, like hoarding toilet paper, somehow we join the frenzy and begin to hoard it ourselves. But also, calm is contagious. So we begin tonight to encourage you to pull back from the frenzy that may be going on in your mind and your spirit and begin to gather yourself. Pull back. The first M is manufacture, and we're going to pull back out of the frenzied percolation in our minds and begin to see what has been left for us to utilize. So it's frenzy in the midst of crisis, or there is fear. All of us know something about that. It is the paralysis which shrinks the soul. Fear is the paralysis that causes us to see everything as too small, too scarce, or not enough. Fear is the thing in the midst of any crisis, whether it is a personal one, a political one, a pandemic. It is the thing that says, wait till I go away and then move forward. But perhaps our fears will not move away. So I want to encourage you in the midst of frenzy, gather yourself. In the midst of fear, do it scared, but do it. Push yourself. We're going to manufacture a new strategy. So we're going to press past frenzy, and we're going to push ourselves past the fear. We're going to do it scared, whatever it is. And then we're going to manufacture a strategy to get us out of frozenness. Because every crisis at some point makes us freeze, to hold in a fixed state. Liquids turn to ice, and in crisis, long enough, it will try to make you turn into another form. We must move past the tendency to freeze. In the midst of crisis, we can, like Lot's wife, we can begin to freeze. We can ossify. We can fossilize with a gaze on what was, instead of facing what is with strategy. We're going to look at frenzy, and then we're going to gather ourselves. We're going to look at our fear, do it scared, and then we're going to push ourselves. And in the midst of being frozen in place, we're going to turn ourselves. Take our eyes off the illusion of the good old days, because they always wasn't all that good, frankly. And then we're going to begin to look hard at the present reality. How are we going to survive? First of all, we're going to make it. We're going to manufacture something. This is not your first rodeo, and you have some strategies already in your little bag of tricks or your leftovers in the refrigerator to throw together like Big Mama did, to put it together in the stew and make something good out of what is going on. So now, because you have already survived and you have been through some hard rides, one of the things young people may not believe it, but old people know this, that survival is possible now. We know that. It might not seem probable, but we know that survival is possible. So we're going to manufacture, we're going to make something based on what we know is already ours. Be flexible enough to resist the routine of falling into an ossified state. So the first thing I want you to do while you're taking your little notes is I want you to name 3 strong attributes that you know you have learned about yourself based on having survived past crisis. Be specific. 3 things that you can wag your tail about and say, I know this about myself because you learned it in crisis mode. 3 strong attributes. And then I want you to also take this away tonight. Name 3 personality snags that you know you must discard in order to survive well going forward. 3 personality snags, the things that you tripped over all the time, the things that kept you distracted from good planning. We're going to manufacture something. And then we're going to access resources and aid relationships. Access resources. In other words, define your needs, swallow your pride, and admit that all that you need, you do not have. Access resources and then aid relationships. Define your needs specifically, and then don't be too proud to ask. I know we all know how to strut and keep the mask on, literally and figuratively. We know how to keep it together publicly. But I want to suggest to you that in times of crisis, it becomes clear what the deficits are. So begin to access resources and don't pretend like you have it all, and then aid relationships. Access resources and aid relationships. Define your need and then ask, and then inquire about others' needs and then aid. Being in the midst of crisis, and particularly this pandemic, I have found out that aloneness can morph into loneliness. And loneliness can make us reach for substitutes or become suicidal. Dust off your virtual Rolodex, your business card drawer, rediscover your internet search engines, and access resources intentionally, and then find a way to aid relationships. Because I'm going to tell you, I have found out that the things that I don't have, that the things that are not enough for me, I need to go ahead and put them in somebody else's life. I need to find out ways that I can take my eyes off myself and put my eyes on somebody else's crisis or struggle and aid that relationship, so that I am not swimming around in substitutes that are unhealthy. Repair some family relationships that you deemed hopeless, because while you are accessing resources, somebody in your own family may need your aid. Call versus texting. Sometime a human voice can settle us in the midst of our floundering. Access resources and aid relationships. Get a buddy system. A friend of mine lately, because they did not do a good job of accessing relationships, found her brother dead in the house, and he'd been dead for 3 weeks. Aid somebody even in the midst of your own pandemic crisis. We're going to manufacture some good strategy based on what we know is left. We're going to access some resources and aid some relationships. Something about crisis, it can make us very small and narrow. Lift up your eyes and see ways that you can get yourself off your mind and begin to invest in somebody else's life. I'm hurrying on to bring conclusions, so maybe we can chat about it. How do I survive in the midst of crisis and not quit and not kill myself and not allow myself to move into unhealthy behaviors? Well, Kay, I'm going to keep my body and my mind healthy. In the midst of crisis and pandemic, my question for you is, what are you using for comfort? What are you using to comfort yourself? In the midst of isolation, in the midst of staying home and staying safe, in the midst of not being in the community of faith where you can watch over one another, what are you using for comfort? Keep your body and your mind healthy. My question to you is, what liberties are you taking with your body that will ultimately work against your good survival in days to come? What liberties? Has food become your new best friend? I walked in my refrigerator the other day and my refrigerator said, "This you again?" What liberties am I taking with my body? Keep the body healthy. So what are the small comforts in the ways that I perhaps never have tasted or touched before that will ultimately keep me from going into my future healthily? Has alcohol now become my therapist? What am I doing to keep my body healthy and my mind? It must be intentional, because crisis demands all our attention. Crisis says, "Hey, come over here and submerge yourself in me," and our bodies go right along with it. What are you doing? Doesn't have to be a great and grand thing, but could you walk around the block once a day? If you can't go to the gym, can you find a YouTube exercise video on your television? Can you limit your junk food days? What are you doing to keep your body temple healthy? Do you know and are you honest about your own addictive tendencies? We got to hurry on, but somebody say M for manufacture. A, access and aid. K, keep the body temple healthy, because it's very easy for your body to follow your sorrows. And then E, and I'm about done. What are you doing to elevate your spirit to matters that are eternal? I told you a minute ago, it doesn't take a great plan to die. We're all going to do it. As the hymn writer said to us many times, that time is filled with swift transition. Naught on earth unmoved can stand. You better build your hopes on things eternal. Elevate your mind, my sister, my daughter. Elevate your spiritual focus. Take an inventory of what you have intentionally tried to grow in your relationship with God. 3 things, and I want to ask you to go by, if you don't have it, it's an old book, but I want you to go by and get the book Celebration of Discipline by Richard Foster, because there are 3 things that are going to work against the elevation of your spirit and your thinking about matters that are eternal and not passing away. The first thing I want to ask you to do is to take an inventory of the noise in your life. We're going to elevate our spirit. Where are the noisy matters keeping you from tapping into that which is spiritual and eternal? What is the noise in your life? Is it your telephone? Is it your television? Is it entertainment? Noise keeps us from accessing things that are in the higher dimension. Noise and hurry. What are the other folks' mandates in your life that keep you running from point A to point B? And things that you didn't, they weren't your priorities, but they become the things that keep you in a hurry to satisfy other people's priorities for your life. Who are you taking care of that keeps you in a hurry, and who you ought to give their lives back to them? Who are you taking responsibility to care for? Noise, hurry, and crowds. Always being in the midst of somebody who's pulling on you, knocking on your door, demanding something from you, keeping your life cluttered. Elevate your spirit to that which is eternal and which cannot be taken away from you. In this time of pandemic, and I'm closing, in this time where God has arranged our aloneness, in this time where God has called us aside and cast down every idol, he's cast down the idols of entertainment and the idols of sports and the idols of crowds. God has cast down every idol that we've always run after. And perhaps God has invited us to come in with God so that we can move from loneliness, which is inner emptiness, to solitude, which is inner separateness. To learn again to elevate the things, the only things that are going to last, and to tap into that which is eternal. Girlfriend, don't quit. Choose in the midst of this pandemic to make it. Manufacture something based on what you already know. Access resources and admit you can't do this by yourself, and then aid other people. K, keep the body temple healthy. Don't let alcohol and drugs and backdoor sex and those things that will position us for an unhealthy future become your new best friends. Keep the body temple healthy, and then elevate the spirit to the things that are eternal, and that's where your return will come for a better tomorrow. Bishop Vashti, I thank you for letting me chat with your women tonight on Selah.
Let me tell you, this was absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. And I don't know about the other Selah ladies, but see my notebook? 1, 2, and 3, and more pages filled. And I love the strategy that you want to make a strategy, manufacture something out of what you have left. There's stuff left, right? Access those resources. See, we were paying attention. And K, keep your mind and body healthy and elevate your spirit. That's an easy way to remember what Dr. Copeland was trying to share with us tonight. If there is one question, we will take it. If there is a question, I see all the comments. They are just absolutely loving everything that you shared. And this was so needed. And if it's so needed, put your thumbs up, put the hearts in there, say amen. I see don't quit. Absolutely. We're going to keep pressing on because now we have a strategy. We have a strategy of survival that is in place. Any other thing you want to share with us before we move to the next segment? You're not going to go away. You're going to hang around, right?
I'll be hanging around in the green room.
You're hanging around in the green room. Thank you so much. Dr. Claudette Copeland really shared some life, she really just held down the transformation table tonight. She gave us a lot of good things. And the wonderful thing about Selah is that there's replay. So if somebody needed to hear this part of the conversation, you be sure to tell them to go back to Selah Leadership event page or go to our YouTube channel and they can hear this. We want everyone to have this message. I'm going to ask Reverend Jazz if she'll come on and get ready to share with us some of the things we need to pay attention to because we got some good stuff that's coming up. And then Genai Walker-Macklin is in the house. She's waiting in the green room. She's going to tell us, girl, she's going to tell us. I know she's going to fuss at me for jumping in that race because we know her dad played a great role in her life as well. And she's got a story to tell, a survival story from the small town to the big lights, from the basketball court to the financial arena. She's got it all. And so don't go away. Dr. Copeland is still with us. Genai is waiting in the green room. Come on, Reverend Jazz, tell us what we need to know.
Good evening, everybody. I am here just to kind of share with you your evening announcements. If you've enjoyed Selah at home so far, come on, of course, as you know, Bishop always says, put some hearts, some likes in there. Of course, if you have not shared this post just yet, go ahead and take the time to do so. But as usual, we want to kind of pause for, as you know, we say, a commercial break. And so let me just share some things that Selah, the home edition, or Selah Leadership Encounters for Women is doing even in this season. First thing, of course, if you want to support Selah, I want to encourage you tonight to go ahead and give through Cash App. And the reason why we are encouraging you to give and support financially is, as you know, we always have an annual or 2 times a year have a conference. And this year we're not able to, but we're still bringing to you right where you are awesome guests like you've heard tonight, Dr. Claudette Copeland and the other guests that we've had. We started off Selah at home with Dal Jennings. And so therefore, we want you to go ahead and sow your seed tonight to the Selah, the home edition, the Leadership Encounters for Women. Now, women, if you have not already, I want to encourage you to go ahead and join our VIP online group. This group, we are creating a community of women. These are boss women, women who want to be inspired by other women who are entrepreneurs or in the classroom or in the boardroom or in the pulpit. We kind of get together in this group and we kind of share all of the things that we're doing in this season to Selah. And so you can go ahead and hit the search bar in Facebook, put Selah Online VIP Group and click request to be added, and we will make sure that you're a part of this group. If you're a part of this group, you know that we have a special event that is coming on August the 24th at 7 p.m. We are throwing a virtual house party. Is anybody excited about the house party? We are excited here because what we're going to do is we're going to curate a special event where you will receive a at-home party kit. All right. And so this event, this party will not be streamed on Facebook. This is kind of like our private room. We get to kind of, relax, unwind, just with ladies in that Selah group that you have to be a part of in order to register the at-home party. And so make sure that you go to that group there, the Selah VIP group, to receive the registration link for that Zoom. So once you register to Zoom, you'll receive everything that you need to have for the Selah at-home party. And guess what? It is free. It is absolutely free. It costs you nothing to go ahead and register to Zoom. And we want you to invite all of your girlfriends, every woman that you know, to be a part of this free experience. And we're going to have special guest Marcus D. Wiley. He was one of our very first entertainers at the Selah, the home edition at the Four Seasons in Dallas, Texas, Las Colinas. And so therefore we've invited him back to do a special presentation to the Selah women, as he is very familiar with us. And he is absolutely hilarious, and you do not want to miss this event. So make sure that you invite your women and your girlfriends, and make sure you're in the place to be. Lastly, I want to encourage you, as you are pressing towards that at-home party, we want you to shop with Selah. Get your Selah t-shirts. As you can see, they come in pink, red, black, and also your mask. We have a good time in our Selah tees, and I want to encourage you tonight to shop with us and do that as well. The ladies in the Selah VIP group are walking, and we are doing a cumulative walk of 100 miles between July 10th and Labor Day, and we are off to the races. But it's not too late for you to join, and so make sure that you do join the group. Follow these instructions so that you can join us on this walk. As we talked about doing things that are going to keep us healthy, this is one of the things that we are doing. Also want to encourage you to take the survey, as we will put that link in the comments and also in the bio of this broadcast, so that when this event is over, you'll be able to provide real-time feedback as to how we can bring to you, right where you are, a better experience for Selah the Home Edition. Before I sign off, I want to list up two last things. First, I want to list up Dr. Copeland's conference. I know y'all can see me in the background, but as you can see, this lovely conference, Dr. Copeland didn't have the chance to mention tonight, but I want to encourage you, if you want to join her at her wellness retreat. It is in October 2020. The information is provided to you there. And Selah women, I will go ahead and post this flyer as well in the Selah VIP group. And who's ready for the next Selah event, which will take place the second Monday in August. And we'll have none other than special guest, Dr. Jill Wagner. Y'all know she is going to tell us how we can survive and get off this, as we call it, COVID-15, keep healthy and make sure that we are doing our part and not going to the refrigerator. And so that our refrigerator will also say, is that you again? And so as I toss it back over to Bishop, want to encourage you one last time, go ahead and support so that we can continue to bring amazing women to Selah at Home Edition. If you have any questions, go ahead and post it in the comments. And as I bring Bishop back, I'll go ahead and be able to respond. Have a great one this evening.
Thank you, Reverend Jazz, and it's awesome. Thank you, Dr. Claudette. You were just 5-6 pages full of notes, and we're going to make it MAKE. We got it all together, and we're going to put up your conference again in October 2020. You go to, what is it, wellnesscenter.com, is that right? Wellnesscentersa.com. Wellnesscentersa.com, and Reverend Jazz is going to put it in the chat section so that when you see it, you get it, take a screenshot, and y'all come back to Dr. Claudette. I am excited now to be able to bring to the table Genai Walker-Macklin. Come on into the room.
Hello.
There she is. Hello, how are you?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
We are having a ball here at Selah, and we want you to join the party. But before, usually I would introduce the guests, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself. I want everybody to watch this video. I want you to because I think it's a great introduction of who you are, where you are. And so everybody, are y'all paying attention? Are y'all paying attention? Please watch this.
I like the competitiveness of it. I like the challenge. I like when people just assume I'm just a girl and can't hang with the boys. But then when they get through playing against me, they realize that I'm more than just a girl. This girl can play. I'm Genai Walker-Macklin from England, Arkansas, population 2,500 people. This is the England High School basketball gym. This was my life. I mean, I pretty much spent almost every day here. Practice in the morning, practice in the evening. I mean, running, I mean, just all the time here. My favorite sound in the world is if I can close my eyes and I hear, like on a freshly clean basketball court, and I hear the shoes screeching across the floor. You're cutting here, you hear the screeching of it. And to me, there's movement. It's not stagnant. I love that sound.
Genai didn't just play basketball with other kids her age. She always played with adults. Right. So that made her so tough. And I remember her dad coming in the house one day saying, he said, Trisha, I have to play her like she's a man. I cannot play Genai like she's a kid. He said, girl, she will beat me if I let her play like she's a kid. He said, I have to play her like she's an adult. We tried to instill in her that the Lord comes first, then school, then basketball. So she did that. She went on to get a full scholarship. She went on to play basketball. Her dream came true.
Went to college, played all 4 years there, got my degree, decided I wasn't quite done yet and wanted to play more. My first team I went to was in Switzerland. When I left from there, I ended up going to Spain. I played in South America, I played in the States, in the Tulsa, and I played in Atlanta. I played in Ecuador, which is South America, and then of course I played in a lot of summer leagues here. I tell people I made it very far, but if I could have done it all over, I would have worked out harder. I mentor to this basketball team, which is kind of like an AAU team, but they do a lot of mentoring too because they want girls to get scholarships, stay focused on just school in general and put boys on the back burner. I want them to know that girls can be just impactful in life as boys. What you see here, I said that's a whole lot of years of practice, or a whole lot of years. I mean, they see me, most of the time I'm in my dress and heels. That's what people know me as. This is a work in progress that got me to where I needed to be. I said, so I just tell them success isn't overnight. It's a continuous work ethic that you have to put in place every day. I mean, it's all about assisting, doing things that other people don't want to do. Not everyone wants to dive on the floor for a ball. Not everyone wants to jump in the stands. Not everyone wants to take a charge. The same thing with dealing with the client. Not everyone wants to stay at the job late, work holidays, work weekends. But all those little things add up to the ultimate goal, to win. And you want to win. Sometimes it takes a little bit more. Sometimes you go into the overtime. And you just have to be prepared for anything. I pride myself in not being rattled. Someone can tell me anything, and I usually always keep a calm, cool head, because if you are panicked, then your players or your clients are going to panic. So I always try to keep a calm, cool head at all times. I like defense. I love defense. So I use that analogy when I'm speaking to clients. A lot of my clients are not sports people, but they understand sports terms. So I tell them that, of course, I want your money to go high, high, high. No one wants to lose. But I tell them, but if the market takes a turn for whatever reason, I said, then there are situations where we have to go into a different type of mode, where we have to lock down and play defense. Things are bigger than basketball. Players can be dealing with things at home, a spouse, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, kids, anything they can be dealing with that's bigger than what's at hand. And so that's the same thing with clients. I handle their money, and we talk about finances, but they have a whole world that's outside of that sometimes they just want to call me. And so I find myself being a counselor. A lot of times, if they have something on their mind at midnight or 5 o'clock in the morning, I just want them to know that, hey, we're in this together, and you can reach me.
Selah, we present to you Genai Walker-Macklin. Come on, welcome her. Put some hearts, welcome her to Selah. Thank you so much for being here. I tell you, it's an awesome story. And so my question then for you tonight is, what did you do when you walked on the court as a little girl and you had to play with adults because that was your level of game? Or you walk on the court, you play basketball on the male basketball team right now. So what did you do when you walked on the court and the fellas were there and they took a look at you as if you didn't belong there, you shouldn't be there? Because there are a lot of women who are on Selah tonight who have walked into boardrooms and people looked at them and they shouldn't be there. Or they walked into a classroom, or they walked into the pulpit, they walked into the church, they walked into the business, and either by age or by gender, what are you doing here? What did you say? What did you say to them?
Well, that's pretty much the story of my life. I think I'm still living that particular daily story, even as an adult. Yes, as a kid, I've always wanted to play with boys. I grew up with two brothers, and I was the definition of a tomboy. I mean, I love to show you all some pictures of myself, and I'm thinking most people assumed I was a little boy because that's just what I felt comfortable doing. I wanted to do everything my brother did. I felt like he had more respect. He got picked on teams, and so I was thinking, I want to be like that. I want to do that. How come they're putting the girls over here, but then they're letting the boys do all the interesting and cool things? And so it just kind of spiraled from there as I got older. And as I got older in like middle school and high school, I also saw that guys was getting more advantages and so forth as girls, more money, different paying jobs. And it just kind of just went on from there. I'm sure a lot of the ladies can relate. As you get into big jobs or your career, you see that men are still getting picked over girls. And so I've pretty much gotten used to being the only female a lot of times in places that I go. And it's a situation of you don't want them to just take you just because they have no choice, like meaning that they have to meet a certain statistic or check a certain box. You want to pretty much, they leave no doubt on why they're picking you. Pretty much without a shadow of a doubt, you belong there. So no matter if you're just only one, you belong there. And so that was the mark that I tried to leave. With basketball, I'm pretty much going to beat you. I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to have everybody on the stands talking about that girl because I really doubt that a lot of the guys know my real name. They just call me that girl. And so I've got used to being that girl. And then in probably my workplace here, I'm probably known as the tall girl, the tall girl. And so not only am I the only female a lot of times, I'm the only African-American. An only African-American woman, of color. And so I'm sure a lot of women can relate to that. So I have a lot of different hats that I'm kind of juggling, being the only one. But I wear it proudly now. It's not always an easy thing, but I wear it proudly a lot more now.
So where did this drive come from? You didn't wait, at 2 years old, figure out there's this drive, or you just woke up one day. But where did this drive come? I just heard you like, I'm on the court, I'm here to beat you. No conversation, no ifs, no ups, no explaining, no say, well, the reason why I'm here is I'm here to beat you. Boom. Where does this drive come from?
I think my mom would probably attest that I came out the womb being a self-proclaimed feminist. I came out the womb being that way. I just, from birth, I was just very outspoken, never been shy. I wanted people to know my name. I felt like I really, really like my name. A lot of people tell me that it's unusual. So it's Genai with a G, and most people spell it with a J or so many other different ways. And so I figured if my name is going to stand out, I want everything else about me to stand out. And a lot of women who are on this call who are tall and also have tall daughters, that's a hard feat in itself because, it takes a while a lot of times for tall girls to catch up with the height of boys or other girls. A lot of my friends in high school were short. My best friend, she happened to be tall, but I surpassed her. I think she stopped at around 5'8", 5'9", and I'm 6'1" and a half. And so I was taller than all the boys, taller than all the girls. And so I felt very awkward. And so I didn't really begin to embrace my height and embrace my power of being so tall until I got older. But then I realized, okay, I'm going to be the first person that people see when I walk in a room. and I'm also going to wear heels. And I didn't learn how to wear heels until I was probably 24, 25, and I was wobbly then. But I figured if I'm going to stand out, why not stand all the way out? And so that is where my love for 3, 4, 5-inch heels came into play. And so not only are they going to see me, they're really going to see me when I walk in. And so I figured, like I said, why not go all the way?
Hey, I love it. I love it. I have 2 daughters, and one of them is tall. She's at, at the 6 foot, and wears heels, wears heels, looks her daddy in the eye. She's also tall and a former NBA player. So all of that. So I heard you say in your video that if you had to do it all over again, you would have worked harder. Now I can just imagine the discipline that you had to have early morning, late at night, in between time. Tell us what that kind of discipline is and what that looks like, because there are some millennials who are on the line who are now paying attention because they have seen your story. What do you mean by working harder? What does that look like?
Well, I mean, I know you can go back in life and I'm sure everyone would change something. But if I change something, then I wouldn't be the person I am now, or I wouldn't be able to tell a certain story that can really enlighten or keep this woman right here from making that same mistake that I did. And so I look at them as they're life lessons, and you're supposed to go through them. But I look at it as I was supposed to go through them. Everything happens for a reason. You might not know right then why it's happening, but you'll find out later on. And sometimes it's a great lesson. Sometimes it's not so great lesson. But I look at, I've had a lot of accolades academically, in the workplace, basketball wise. But I look at, if I would have been lazy here, or if I didn't sleep in here, or if I didn't want to skip and go to this party with my friends here, maybe I could have gotten this, or maybe I couldn't have gotten that. And there's always something you could have done better. Maybe if I wouldn't have, just so many things. If I wouldn't have hit snooze on my alarm instead of going to the 7:30 breakfast, who knows who I would have met or who I would have inspired by meeting them. So it's always something that you wish you could have changed. But I look at it as everything happens. Everything happens, and it happened the way it was supposed to happen. And the mistakes I've made and the successes I've had all kind of just go hand in hand. But I tell the girls, you think you're doing something now. When you're sleeping, there's somebody else who's up running. There's somebody else who's up shooting. There's, just like in the workplace, there's somebody who's, if you're getting at the office at 7, there's somebody getting at the office at 6. There's always going to be someone trying to get your job or do better than you. If you do it as a basketball analogy, if you're a junior or senior, there's always going to be a freshman coming in to take your spot. Because people are hungry and you get settled. A lot of us get settled. We're comfortable. We like this job. We like this salary. We like this title. We like the people that's around us. But shake it up a little bit sometime. Make yourself uncomfortable. That means take risks. And a lot of us don't want to take risks because we don't want to fail. We don't want to fail. We don't want to not do great. And then people talk about us, then you get into that. I don't want this person talking about me if I didn't do such a great job, or I don't want to interview for this job because I might not get it. So there's a lot of factors that go into play that can just deter you for so many things. But I just say, why not? Why not? Because if you wait on something to happen, or you wait on something to drop into your lap, or if you wait on just all of this money or this bonus or this promotion to happen, then you might be waiting for a long time, because some people go out and get it.
For the rest of your life. There are some risks that you have to take. There's a difference between losing and quitting. There's a difference between, you may lose the game, but you didn't quit the game, or you didn't quit in the game. All right. So there's a difference between losing. So you can take a risk. Yes, you might not make it, but then again, you might.
Right.
You might make it because time is going to pass anyway. And so since time is going to pass anyway until Jesus comes back again, where do you want to be in that 1 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, by the grace of God and God willing, all of that. All right, here we go. Give us 3 of your best strategy lessons that you've learned along the way. Because we're talking about a strategy for survival. What are your key survival strategies that have served you well over the years?
Okay, and feel free to anyone interject or questions, or if you need me to elaborate anywhere. First and foremost, I'm a paper hog. People say I always drag around a lot of papers, and I'm old school. I know in an age of technology, and I have a lot of electronics and so forth, but I like to keep it old school on some things. I love a planner. So if I can just encourage every woman out there, whether it's a small one, a big one, I mean, me, I prefer big, I write sloppy. So I like a big planner, kind of like a notebook, and I put everything in it. And pretty much all events, I print out a lot of things. I put it all in there so I don't forget. Even things I know I might not go to, I put in there because I might get a little bit of time to attend. So just a full organization of your life. Don't always just depend on electronics or just your memory, because as you can see, we're getting older, so our memory is not going to always be there, or having someone remind you, because they might not remember as well because they have things going on. But just write it down, write it somewhere where you know you'll see it, and that way you're keeping your own self accountable. So with me, I like to just keep it old school and have a planner, a big planner, and so I can look at my day every day to see what all I have going on. And so that kind of keeps me on task and keep me with whatever I have going on for that month. So I can pretty much tell people if I'm free, just by memory, because I kind of know my planner because I wrote it in there. And a lot of times if you write things down, you usually remember it more than if you just say it or if you stick it somewhere else. Another thing I would say is don't worry all the time about controlling what other people say about you. People are going to jump the gun. People are going to say this. They're going to say their own assumptions, their own conclusions about you. They're going to talk about you based on how you look. I mean, they might say, oh, she thinks she's all that, or, oh, who does she think she is? I mean, so many assumptions that people say about people who are confident, about people who are quote unquote pretty, about people who are just, I don't know, have blonde hair, wear heels. They're going to say so much about you. But if you live your life trying to figure out, trying to get this person to like you, or trying to get this person to stop saying anything negative about you, then you'll be spinning your wheels until you die. And you actually stress yourself out even more. Control what you can control, because that's all you have left. Control what you can control, because I've had my own share of, in the workplace, you're going to have people saying this or saying that. You're going to have people saying, oh, she was given this particular promotion or so forth because she was the only minority. So they had to check that box. And then, if I try to go back and try to figure out how to change that person's mind, then I'm not being myself. So all I can do is work twice as hard as that person. So one day they'll kind of see why I got my promotion I got. It was because my hard work has nothing to do with my color. It's just I worked a little bit harder than everybody else. And so I prided myself on that particular thing. It's hard. It's a hard thing. I talk to a lot of middle school girls and boys because in this day and age, a lot of kids are committing suicide. A lot of social media bullying, cyberbullying. They didn't have all of that when I was growing up, but they have it now. And so it's like you can just let it bother you, you can let it destroy you, or you can walk with your head held high and just control, like I said, what you can control, and then everything else just going to fall into place. And so I try my best to pride myself on that particular thing. And then to me, that's pretty much taken me far. And my mantra, like I always say, I'm very blunt. Don't take crap. Don't take any crap. I don't care if it's from your boss. I don't care if it's from family members. I don't care if it's from your friends. I don't care if it's from the president. Don't take any crap, because people is going to give you crap. They're going to tell you can't do this because you're this. You don't have this degree, so you can't do this. They're going to tell you that you don't make enough money to be able to buy that house. They're going to tell you, oh, you got to have a 800 credit score to be able to do that. They're going to tell you all type of stuff. But you know you, and you should always surround yourself with people who are uplifting you and who are giving you those encouraging words, who pretty much you want to model yourself around. And you're always around negative people, always around people putting you down, then you're never going to get anywhere. You're going to start believing that. I know when I first met my boss, And my boss is a white guy, of course. I'm the only African-American female in our whole region. So region spans states, not just cities, it's states. So I'm the only African-American female. And I know when I first met my boss, me and him had a one-on-one meeting. And I kind of just looked at him. He told me he was from Fort Worth. And I was like, okay, I'm a country girl from Arkansas. And then he was kind of nervous, not knowing exactly what to say to me. And I said, well, I'm Black, you're white. So are we going to have a problem? And then he just laughed. And that pretty much broke the ice right there. And then ever since then, we didn't have the best relationship. I could come to him and talk to him about anything, whether it's politics, whether it's about white privilege, whether it's about the police situation, all type of stuff that's going on in the world. I can have an educated and meaningful conversation with it without any recourse or any just aftermath. And so being able to have that and just not taking anyone's crap can go very far.
Wow. Let me tell you, if there is a self-confident queen, you have the crown. You are the self-confident queen, and I love it. Direct, blunt, don't take no crap, control what you can control, and stop worrying about what other people think about you, because they're going to talk about you anyway. And I always tell people that, you know, I say, since they're going to talk about you anyway, just give them something real good to talk about. I think we got a couple of questions here. Are we ready to put them up? What strategy should you use at this point in life to better manage our money? All right. So what strategy should we use at this point in our lives to better manage our money?
Okay. It depends on how old you are, because everyone's going to have a different strategy. Someone who's 20-something going to have a different strategy than someone who's 60-something. So, but everyone, of course, needs to save money. And then you just kind of need to do a financial check. You need to see if all of your I's and T's are crossed and everything like that, such as, do you have insurance? Do you have enough insurance? Are you overinsured, underinsured? Some people just buy insurance because they like the idea, but sometimes you don't need it. Are you renting or are you buying? Because rent is expensive. And I mean, if you're just paying rent to someone, you're giving them extra money and paying their mortgage. So you want to stop doing that as quick as possible. It can happen. Whether people know if you can do it or not, you can buy a house. You just got to talk to the right people and make things happen. Credit cards are not bad. Not all credit cards are bad. It just depends on how you use them, how you can pay them off, and not pretty much borrowing more than you can spend or pay back. That's also very important. But as far as now and things dealing now, this is the best time to take risks. Like I was telling Bishop earlier, this is the best time to take risks. The market has been up and down. A lot of the stocks that were once very expensive are a lot cheaper now. And so I know a lot of people don't want to be in the stock market because they're afraid they're going to lose all their money, but it just depends on which stocks you buy. So that's when you probably need a little bit more in-depth conversation with someone like myself or another financial planner. And so you can kind of figure out what type of risk do I need to be taking at this point. And so it's just a lot of different strategies that a person can be taking, but it just depends on you personally and depends on what are you trying to do. Are you trying to save for your child's college fund? Or your grandkids' college fund? Are you trying to retire in 5 years, retire in 20 years? A lot of people don't have a 401k or haven't started their 401k. Start your 401k. That's free money from your company. And if they're matching 4 or 5%, at least do 4 or 5%, because otherwise you're letting free money walk out the door. So it's a lot of little tidbits that people can be doing right now that doesn't require a lot of effort.
And Genai's email was at the bottom of the screen, so we hope that you got it. This is the next question. How do you think the short and long-term impact will be on the market in the light of COVID-19?
Well, short term, I mean, the market has pretty much bounced back. If anyone kind of followed the stock market, the Dow Jones was at a high of $29,000 a share, probably in March of this year. And then it dropped all the way down to $18,000 a share. That means we lost $11,000, and percentage-wise, that's a pretty high percentage of money that people lost. But then now it's back to 26,000. So it's only 2,000 or 3,000 off from where it was. So as you can see, it's still a lot of buying potential as far as making money in the stock market. The interest rates on houses and refinancing and things are down. So this is the best time to buy a house or refinance right now. And as far as changing jobs and things like that, a lot of companies are doing layoffs. A lot of companies are restructuring. So this is the best time to change jobs or change positions or things along those lines. Long term, I believe that they're going to find a cure. And so that's going to be better and put at ease a lot of people's minds. And the overall market is going to recover. Now, as far as the election's most likely going to have the market and take another dip, because historically that's just what the market does. When election time, it usually takes a dip no matter who wins, because pretty much nobody's going to be truly happy with the result. And so then it usually bounces back after the election. So short term and long term, I don't think it's going to have lasting effects with COVID, because a lot of vaccines are currently in place and are ready to hit the market.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And I think that's the last question. Oh, we got one more. Okay, one more. What was your greatest challenge with a male counterpart in the workplace, and how did you overcome it?
I would say the greatest challenge would be someone getting a position that I know that I should have gotten. Whether it's skill set was more, personality was better, education was better, overall just experience was off the charts better than this individual. And in my opinion, they only got the job because they were a Caucasian male, and I didn't get it because I was an African American female. I look back and I'm thinking everything happens for a reason. So God didn't want me to have that job. That wasn't the job that I was supposed to get. And I look and I'm thinking, I could be bitter. I could be mad. I could just go on a rant, get mad at my company and get mad at my boss and everybody involved for not hiring me. But the way I did it, I worked harder. I worked harder at my current position and I got promoted. I worked hard in my current position and got more accolades. And then I found out that person had to call me. The one who got the job had to call me and say certain things to me that they didn't think that they would have to say. So sometimes you can turn a sad situation into your advantage. And then, I know it's not good to gloat or to rub something in somebody's face, but you can do it internally and you can feel really good about it. And so sometimes having that satisfaction that you should have gotten that job, but you're doing very good at what you're doing now.
And now they have to call you.
Now they have to call me.
Yeah, now they have to call you. That was the good part, wasn't it?
And you answer the phone with a smile every time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Genai, for being with us. Let us bring Dr. Copeland back into the conversation. Hi, Dr. Copeland. You've been listening to all these strategies and all of this. This has really been a great conversation. Before we say goodbye, we want to you want to say anything about your retreat and what you do in your wellness retreat?
No, really. I'd like them to just invite them to visit the website, wellnesscentersa.com. But I do have a question for Genai. Do I have time?
Yes.
Genai, in my generation, when we entered all male environments, I was a military chaplain, a pastor, and all that. Of course, in all male environments, one of the things that my mother and the people in my life always said, you need to have something to fall back on. That was their mantra. I was a chaplain for the WNBA here in San Antonio, and a lot of the young girls were coming up and they wanted to have professional careers. Some got hurt, some got sidelined, and they had been in that conversation about needing something to fall back on. What is your advice? What was that ever part of the conversation? You were a baller. You were a top player. Did anybody ever try to divert you from your dreams by telling you you ought to have something to fall back on? Don't go after that with your whole heart. Was that ever part of your background?
Absolutely. Well, people don't know I'm probably one of those I'm athletic nerds. I absolutely love numbers. So I majored in math, which is very unheard of for an athlete. Being in college, they actually pushed me to try to major in quote unquote easy subjects like family consumer science, general studies, art. They wanted me to major in something that they knew I could possibly pass because they didn't want me to be ineligible to play basketball. And so a lot of my teammates, they majored in things they knew they could pass so they wouldn't have any problems academically. But I was always thinking a step ahead. And I figured that I can't play basketball forever. I would love to play basketball forever. I mean, I'm still playing now, just not getting paid for it. But I knew I needed something that I can use. And I knew I didn't want to be a coach or a teacher. And nothing against coaches or teachers. I absolutely love coaches and teachers, but I feel like it takes a special person to be a coach or a teacher. And I just knew my heart and passion wasn't in those two careers. I wanted to be pretty much like a businesswoman, a boss. I really did want to be a boss. And I love numbers and I wanted to make a difference. And I was very blessed to be able to do so. But I had to go into my own destiny and go into my own challenges for that. When I was in my college classes, I was the only athlete in my math classes. I was the only African-American female in my math classes. And I was in there with a bunch of minorities and nerds. I mean, these were going to be future scientists, future chemical engineers. And I'm in the class with them, a jock, and I'm trying to figure out how to do algebraic equations. And then I got to go to practice in the next 2 hours. And so I befriended a lot of those nerds who helped me out tremendously to get me to where I needed to be. But this was not the traditional path and not the traditional role. And pretty much it wasn't given to me. Everything I did, I had to work very, very hard for because I was walking down a path that nobody I knew, no friends, no family has went down. So I didn't have any examples that I can call and say, hey, how do I do this? Or Google, how do you become successful at this? So a lot of things were trial and error, a lot of mistakes I made. But I believe I made it and victorious because of it. But I can tell a story and tell other women not to do this or not to do that because that made it more difficult for me. But I did
it. And sure you did. And sure you did. You majored in that math and got your degree in that math. There are seasons in all of our lives. The way it's happening now, many of the women who are on the line have had several different careers before the one that they're in. And so you never know what you're preparing for. And I'm so glad that you didn't take the easy way out. It's easy may be convenient, but easy may not be right for you. You took the path left, you took the different path, and it has served you well. So that when you were finished with professional ball and professional ball was finished with you, you had something else to do. And I know that there are other young ladies listening on the line. It is okay to be multi-talented because of the seasons of our lives. There'll come a time in which all the talents will be celebrated and elevated. Thank you, Genai. Thank you, Claudette. This has been wonderful. Selah ladies, come on, let's thank them. Let's thank them. Let's thank them. Let's thank them. Let's get our thank yous up and our hearts going because it has been quite an evening. I look forward to seeing you back at the table of transformation on Monday night, August the 10th. Jill Wagner will be at the table. You know, she is not like any other doctor you have ever met in your whole entire life. Not like any other doctor you have met in your whole entire life. And of course, you always have a couple of surprises along the way. Now, remember in the beginning, I said I wanted us to begin to take a deep breath because I love breathing. And breathing is so very good for us. When we stress, we shallow breathe. Or we forget to breathe. Or we hold our breath. Or we hold ourselves. So I want us to breathe. I want you to take a deep breath. Okay? And I love breathing prayers. You know, don't you love breathing prayers? I inhale. Lord, I receive. receive you. I exhale. Lord, I breathe. Yeah. I love breathing affirmations. I take a deep breath. I breathe in the peace. I breathe out the chaos. Then I want you to practice what's called promise prayer. Got it? In for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. And repeat it 4 times. And you got it. So let's practice that. Let's practice our breathing prayers, our breathing affirmations, and our promise. And our promise. Breathing. And let's see. It's going to improve your system. It'll clear your mind. It'll help get you out of that frenzy that Dr. Copeland talked about, so that we get into the calm. Selah, love you, my sister. See you next